Hello everyone, welcome back once again to On the Couch with David and Travis, still with no couch.
We're going to try and fit it into the budget at some point.
We'll see.
So this was episode 2, Unknown Ceilings, also known as The Beast. Sometimes they have several.
They had a title slide for both of them. So.
I can't think of any explanation. Sometimes they have titles for each half, sometimes it's for the whole, sometimes it's English or the Japanese translation. It's kind of all over the place there. So
okay.
I'm going to stick with Unknown Ceilings. I like that one.
Even though Wikipedia says The Beast.
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia said. But I noticed a lot watching this one that I don't think you would get your first time around.
Okay.
Why don't you
I was going to say, I'll do my first reaction then. I like how this is set up. Like how it was, it was after the fight was done. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the fight and it looks like he's dead. Mm-hmm. And then he wakes up and then he realizes that he's alive.
It's a little bit confusing to watch.
It is, but I like it.
I like too.
Being confused.
I'm glad they wrapped it all up in an episode, though, because if it had spread over multiple, I would have been sort of... because we have the attack. Oh, it looks like he lost. He's fine. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
And it works fine in a self-contained episode.
Yeah. And this is something that I like. I like being confused and being like, wait, what just happened? Yeah. Like, what's happening? Like, I want to figure it out now.
You're going to get some of that.
So, it's like, to me, that's interesting. So, I like that they showed us the end of the fight later, and it was kind of like the end of the episode was that, and then, oh gosh, what's her name that he's living with?
Misato. You'll pick it up after a while.
That, like, the last thing...
You'll learn each of the people by their hair color. So Misato's
blue hair.
Purple.
Sorry, purple. I liked how, like, the last thing was, like, her being like, you did a really good thing today, and then he's like, did I actually? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's kind of, like, what's left with.
Yeah.
But the comedic parts with him and Misato are strange.
They don't work.
They don't gel very well. I think I understand that they're trying to, like, have levity, but, like, it just feels kind of weird. Like, I felt like it could have been much more... I did like the penguin. I like the penguin.
I have no idea what point the penguin serves at all. Imagery, thematically, metaphorically.
I think it's just, like, them just being like, we have to make something a little lighthearted for this episode. I like the idea of him... Like, there's that scene where she's like, this is your home now, and then, like, you see him walk over that threshold. And, like, symbolically, that's supposed to be, like, him accepting it as a new home, but, of course, he doesn't actually right away. So, it's fun how, like, it kind of toys with that a little bit. Because, like, you think, like, oh, since he walked inside, he must think it's his home now. But he's still kind of like, oh, I still don't know the ceiling above me. Like, there's nowhere in this town that I feel that way.
I do like how we get a little bit more of the Misato character in this episode, though. Mm-hmm. And again, it's kind of what I said last time, where it's a little bit of a subversion. It's not a lot, but, she's messy, she's trashy, she drinks a lot of beer, like a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think those are just more interesting quirks than her being, the flirty older woman.
Yeah.
She's not even that old, I guess, but compared to a preteen.
Yeah.
I think characters are supposed to be 14, or... maybe a little bit 13 or 12. I'm not sure. It's supposed to be like right on the cusp of puberty, which is obviously different for everyone.
But. Yeah. So overall, I liked it. Like, I feel like we're getting to know the characters a little better. I wish I knew Shinji a little better still.
Yeah, it's still underwhelming overall, I feel.
Yeah.
It's starting, and we're going to start getting into this thing where it's sort of like Monster of the Week, guy comes, we fight at the end.
Yeah.
And it's where we're starting to see the beginning of that. But what I did like is some cool things about the Angel. First of all, I love how the way he attacked was he raised his arm and then his elbow sort of shot out like this.
Yeah.
That's something I hadn't seen before. That's very cool. Interesting.
It kind of reminds me of, like certain, this is a really bad example, but like Gallade in Pokemon, like where it has like those extensions of its arms.
Extensions.
Yeah, like I know there's some... It's either some form of fighter, I don't think it's martial arts, but some kind of fighter where they have those things, like, they use, like, shields on their arms.
Yeah, I know what
and
you're
those shields,
about.
like, extend out. So that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think about... what I also really like about that opening scene, and again, it is laid out very interesting how we have the bookends of doing it, and they're both very fast-paced, very loud, very in-your-face, very actiony, and the whole, like, 16-minute middle section is very, very quiet and slow paced. There's almost no music. There's no yelling. There's a lot of cicadas chirping. But what I also liked about it is sort of when he rips his arm and when he cracks the other guy's arms, it's very harsh.
Very visceral.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a very important element, especially just, like, getting you ready. It's like, we're not afraid to show harsh violence here. Yeah. And I think that's important, but it also makes it more impactful when you're watching it, when it feels like, ooh, like, you kind of feel it a little when you're watching it.
Well, like, the part where he, like, rips off its rib cage and then starts, like, beating its heart with its own rib, like... I was just
it's very violent for episode 2. Yeah,
but I was like, it's kind of cool.
So here's a few things I noticed just watching it.
Okay.
We saw the very they brought up the Human Enhancement Project, which I thought was the Human Instrumentality Project. Maybe that's just what they call it later on, or it's a translation thing. That's an important element. All they've done is brought it up, though. I think there's a few moments here that, again, it's hard to say how much they planned this out. There are a few moments that, having seen the whole show, have a greater weight to them. And particularly that scene when Shinji sees his father in the elevator. He goes away. And then there's this line Misato has when she's talking on the phone to Ritsuko. It says, I'm not going to try and put the moves on him. And it's kind of like a comedic moment, as well as the other comedic moments with Misato drinking a lot of beer are things that have a pretty different connotation if you've seen the whole show.
Okay.
They're sort of played for comedy here, but it's the kind of thing where you're watching now and you're kind of like, So that's like, that's an interesting thing. I don't know if it's planned ahead or what the situation is with that, but it's something I noticed. Again, I wrote pen question mark because I just, it's fun, I guess, that it's a penguin. I guess people like it, but it just serves no purpose narratively at all.
It
absolutely
makes no
at all. I can't think of any justification for it in any way. But it's fun, I guess. It's a penguin who's going to get mad. Did you notice when he was looking at the Unit 1? It had that eye pop out for a moment. I think that was very intense. What's the opposite of phallic? What would you call that if it was for a female?
It's something to do with the moon. It's like based off of... It has loon in it, I know. But I forgot. Well, I know what you're talking about.
Very obviously, I think, meant to look like a... female parts.
Yes.
And I think that's intentional, and I think that's important as well.
Yeah.
Kind of. Or I guess it's hard to say where exactly it ties in, but sexual imagery is an important part of the series. Because it's about growing up, sexuality is an important part of growing up, so we're seeing the beginning of that there.
Well, and a lot of horror...
Yeah.
Like any kind of movie monster that's not a human, it's based off of, like, genitalia. Because we are afraid of it.
It's going to be like Shining, the old naked lady.
Yeah, it's like societally, it's kind of like the It Follows, where like sex is a taboo, and so like the xenomorph from Aliens is obviously it's like phallic. Yeah. You know, like and that is like a lot of what we see in horror is based off of those symbols.
That is smart. I didn't make that connection, David. That's why I like that you're here.
No, and it's just like that. That is. What or like the sand, I forgot what it is. It's in Star Wars, so it's not horror. It's not horror, but like
I know what you're talking
the
about.
sand monster that's like swallowing you whole. Like that's it's like a.
It's supposed to invoke some sort of like sexual ideals. It's intentional,
exactly.
And I think it is so here as well.
Yeah.
But what I really wish we did have more of here at this point, because this is the pilot. I think this is what we're called. Our introduction is over. I wish we had more of Shinji's character, like you said. Yeah. I wish we had more of Gendo, which is the father.
Okay.
Because their relationship is key. Like I said, it's about... Another big thing it's about is relationship, particularly paternal and maternal relationships. Mm-hmm. And their sort of conflict is integral, but right now it's like, he doesn't like him. I mean, we get there's something we don't...
Sorry.
No, you go. I had nothing going left.
Well, we see, and depending on what happens later in the series, it's going to be interesting, but we see Misato... Mm-hmm. She kind of goes from a maternal figure, like, in the beginning, where she's like, you're home now, and then, like, in the middle, where she, like, drinks a bunch of beer and gives him crappy food, then she's, like, being more like a friend or a roommate rather than a guardian, and then she's like, oh, crap, like, that probably wasn't the best thing to do, like, it was a little gruff with him, and then at the end, she's like, you did really good out there, like, you did something that you should be really proud of. She's, like, trying to be that motherly figure.
That's absolutely correct. I think that's super important. I think Misato sort of grappling with that, I don't want to say maternal instinct, but like her sort of responsibility towards Shinji, especially in tandem with him and Gendo's situation, is very important.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about that here either.
I only thought of that when you were talking. And it's important that, like, the father figure is, like, gone. And he is, like, having this parental, mother figure who is not his biological
mother. Oh, it's the complete opposite personality-wise, too. Yeah. She's very warm and, I guess, fun and personable, maybe almost too so.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Gendo is very cold and distant, which is sort of a...
and it's kind of showing that neither's really the ideal.
No. But I do wish we had a little bit more of who Gendo is. Because we had that scene with him and, I guess... I can't think of what they're called. They have a name. They're like the elders or something, but I think it's supposed to be like the UN.
Kind of like Security Council.
It's split up. I think it's supposed to be like there's USA, Germany, Japan, and like 2 UK, and maybe Africa or something. Those are like the 5 world powers.
I thought that the way that was drawn was very strange.
They had it each with a color.
It was a little too grotesque, in my opinion. Like I feel like because like each man there is very obviously supposed to be like. He's drawn really strange. He has a weird, like, he looks ugly. He's a bad guy. Like, that's what it's supposed to be like. And I feel like that's a little too on the nose.
But again, okay, so this ties in with a lot of other stuff where I think that idea is also sort of playing into this. This is a phrase I'm going to use a lot, is deceptively simple.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to put these things out there, maybe, I'm still not sure on it yet, and make you think, oh, that's all it is. But then that's not the case.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see more with that. But it, just right now, that it is coming off that way of, like, the exceedingly, I don't want to say simple, but, like, very obvious. Like, these guys are speaking in gruff voices, and they don't look like humans sometimes in the way that they're, like, framed.
And the good guys are all kids and, like, cute girls, so it's kind of like them versus the old crusty white men. So it's like, I guess that's the other thing is nobody, you forget because you're American, but nobody's supposed to be white in this show, I think, except for maybe the Germans, I guess. They're all supposed to be Japanese.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I forget. I forget when I'm watching it, and I feel stupid about it, but yeah.
Yeah, so that part was a little off-putting to me, but I think if they can if they, like, like you said, decept the audience with it, then it's good. But I'm excited for episode 3.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm just realizing now, it's going to be hard to watch this over the course of like 5 or 6 weeks because the episodes are really short. They're like 19 to 22 minutes. Mm-hmm. So you get it and you're like, oh, I want to see some more, but we kind of got to stagger it out for our sake and for yours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to come back with episode 3. I don't know what it's called. We'll find out.